wabarakatuh. Um, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, we are going to learn chapter 5, which is Consumer and Industrial Chemistry. We from Group 1. We'll explain to you about the first subtopic, which is oils and fats. And I'm gonna explain to you the difference between oils and fats. For humans that are responsible for supplying energy, providing body temperature insulation, and helping with the absorption of vitamins. At room temperature, fats normally exist in a solid form. Fats in liquid are known as oils. Fats are usually found in meat, while various types.
Sekejap saya macam dengar suara Adam ni tenggelam timbul lah. Kau lain sama, kau lain tak? Orang lain okey ke?
Sama.
Tenggelam timbul lah. Boleh tak Adam, awak tak ada earphone
Ada.
Pakai earphone Pakai earphone. Kalau boleh semua presenter lepas ni guna earphone ataupun headphone untuk kita kurangkan dia punya ketidakstabilan Okey, teruskan.
Saya je lah ada.
Alright. Yeah.
Okay. Fats are usually found in meat and butter, while various types of oils can be obtained from plants, such as palm oil, soybean oil, and coconut oil. But what is meant by oils and fats? Oils and fats are esters produced through the reaction between acids and glycerol, which is propan 1,2,3 triol.
Okey, kejap.
Fatty acid.
Okey, kejap. Apa yang awak faham tentang oil and fats are esters tu? Apa yang awak faham tentang oil and ester? Kak ada kelas kak. Mentah dah. Apa yang awak faham tentang oil and ester tu? Oils and fats are esters tu.
Oils and fats are ester ni maksudnya kalau dulu esters ni maksud dia reaction between esters ni adalah gabungan antara carboxylic acid and alcohol.
Okay, good.
When oils and fats are esters produced through the reaction between fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acid is the alcohol, and glycerol is alcohol, while fatty acid is the carboxylic acid.
Very good. Itu yang saya nak dengar. Okay, daripada pembentangan daripada kelas lain sebelum ni, okay, saya bukan nak cakap dia tak pandai, tapi tak ada lagi orang yang boleh explain kepada saya the relationship between what you have learned before, right, in esters, okay, and the esters here in oils and fat. Means, okay, it means when you know that oils and fat are esters, means oils and fats also is produced by carboxylic acid and alcohol. But in this reaction, the carboxylic acid used is fatty acid, and the alcohol used is named glycerol. So it is your task to understand what is actually fatty acid. Because before this, we just know the carboxylic acid is such as methanoic acid, ethanoic acid, propanoic acid, and so on, right? Tapi sekarang ni sampai fatty acid. Okay. And then what do you know about, what do you understand about glycerol? Okay, dah. Okay, so teruskan Adab Marham. Itu maksud itu dua benda yang perlu faham kat sini dah. Okay, teruskan.
Fatty acids have very long carbon chains. The characteristics.
Kejap. Yang lain, tolong faham dan tanya kepada presenter. Sebab yang nak belajar ialah kamu semua. Of course, the presenter is already know about dia punya presentation. Orang lain ni yang tak tahu ni, you have to know, you have to try to make it well understand supaya ini adalah belajar ni, bukan yang saya kata presentation nak tanding R&D ni. Dah? So nak content awak. Jadi sekarang ni orang lain tu tolong faham. Okay? Dan tolong tanya, presenter akan jawab. Cuma saya akan sambung tadi, saya akan terai lagi mana-mana yang benda yang saya nak tanya kepada presenter. Okay? Dan saya juga boleh tanya kepada audience hotline. Ready kan? Okay, teruskan.
Fatty acids have very long carbon chains. The characteristics of oils or fats are rely on the types of fatty acid involved in the esterification with glycerol. Examples of the fatty acid are formic acid, stearic acid, and linoleic acid.
Linoleic.
This is the linoleic acid. This picture is the okay. Although oils and fats are grouped into the same homologous series, there are characteristics that can differentiate oils and fats. From aspect source, oils are from plants while fats are in animals. The physical state at room temperature of oil is in liquid while fat is in solid. The melting point of oils is low while fats is high, and the content of fatty acids in oils is high percentage of unsaturated fatty acids, while fat is high percentage of saturated fatty acids. The example of oils is palm oil, and the example of fats is butter.
Okay, wait. So, right. All of you, please look at the first sentence. Although oil and fats are grouped into the same homologous series. Okay, so what is the homologous series of oil and fat? Cuba beritahu saya jawapan dia, Darwish. Muhammad Darwish. Darwish ada ke tak ada? Okay, buka saja kamera. Muhammad Darwish. Muhammad Darwish. Ada ke tak ada sebenarnya? Ada ke? Mana tu dia ni? Saya sebut saya kat sekali bila saya sebut nama Muhammad Darwish.
Yes sir.
Awak saya apa?
Line slow. Bawa bunyi.
Kalau line slow, tolong tarik jawapan awak. Saya tanya awak, what is the homologous series of oil and fat?
Oil and fat. Homologous series. Carboxylate.
Ngarut tu. Baru saja ada sana terai. Baru saja dia sebut dan saya terai macam-macam dekat ni. Okey, Ikhwan, apa dia homolog series untuk ni? Untuk oil and fat ni? Ester lah. Saat ni baru sebut pasal ester. Nampak sangatlah awak tak menumpukan apa yang kawan awak sedang buat presentation ini. Saya dah bagi tahu. Tolong dengar betul-betul. Ini adalah konten yang perlu awak tahu untuk jawab soalan. Bukan yang saya suka-suka nak buat. Okay, saya warning kepada semua. Tolong dengar betul-betul dan saya akan soal satu-satu. Saya tak perlu soal. Hak presenter ni sebab dia study untuk dia buat benda ni. Cuma saya perlu tambah apa yang dia tinggal. Apa yang dia terang saya perlu tambah. Orang lain tu tolong dengar molek dan saya akan tanya. Apa yang awak dengar daripada presentation kawan awak tu. Faham kan dia orang lain? Tolong dengar molek. Mudah ya saya punya soalan tadi. What are the homologous series of oil and fats? Awal-awal lagi Adam Adha dah cerita. Dan saya pun tambah lagi pasal apa itu ester yang berkait dengan oil and fats. Awak ingat ke tak ni? Bila sebut homolog series itu ialah alkane, alkohol. Alright? Carboxylic acid. Dan last sekali ialah ester. Lupa tadi nak sebut. Alkyne. Satu lagi kan? Double triple bond tu. Okay. Lepas tu yang ini pula, Adam Adham, dia terang kepada dia explain kepada kita semua pasal the differences between oil and fat in the aspect of sources dia, physical state dia, melting point dia, content of fatty acid dia apa, dan dia bagi example kepada kita semua. Contohnya, the example of oil is palm oil, minyak sawit, minyak yang kita guna hari-hari untuk memasak, untuk goreng tu. Manakala fat pula ialah butter. Butter ni dalam bahasa Melayu ke apa
Mentega.
Jangan sebut margarine. Dia beza deh. Margarine tu comes from palm oil. Dah. Kita awak tengok lepas ni. Beza antara margarine dengan butter dari segi dia punya sources dia tu. Okay dah. So maksudnya bila butter ni is a fat comes from animal. Okay. Bila margarine is an oil. Oil comes from plants. Okay. So, awak akan tengok lagi lepas ni dari segi saturated dan juga unsaturated yang ada dalam oil ataupun fats. Okay, teruskan.
Fats are divided by two, which is saturated fats and unsaturated fats.
Good.
Saturated fats contain saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fats contain unsaturated fatty acids.
Okay, jap nak tanya dah. Siapa yang buat yang share slide ni siapa
Tengku Alia.
Tengku Alia. Okay, Alia, awak boleh tak awak highlight perkataan saturated fat contain saturated fatty acid, unsaturated contain unsaturated fatty acid. Cuba awak highlight. Boleh ke awak guna keynote ni kan? Tu guna apa?
Guna canvas tu.
Guna canvas. Canvas boleh contoh tak?
Kalau present tak boleh ni, dia macam boleh
highlight je.
Tak boleh.
Tak apalah. Okey, teruskan. Apa tu Zul?
Example of saturated fatty acids are palmitic acid, lauric acid, and stearic acid. While example of unsaturated fatty acids are oleic acid, linoleic acid, and linoleic acid.
Linoleic dengan linoleic. Alright, so sekejap Sekarang ni ada dua benda tu. Awak tengok dua benda itu, which is saturated fat dengan unsaturated fat. Okay. Biasanya bila kita sebut pasal unsaturated fat ini adalah daripada haiwan. Itu oil lah sebenarnya. Dari haiwan, daripada tumbuhan dah. Iaitu oil plant. Sebenarnya. Daripada plant dah. Okay. So, awak tengok ayat ni, dia nampak macam panjang. Tapi dia hanya simple saja dah. Macam panjang. Awak nampak macam Allah panjang nak faham. Awak baca betul-betul. Dia akan mudah faham. Dah. Lepas tu dia bagi contoh setiap saturated dan juga unsaturated fatty acid. Okay. Contoh yang kat situ dia kata saturated fatty acid. Bila sebut saturated, ingat kepada haiwan. Okay. So, apa dia? Palmitic, lauric dan juga stearic. Okay. While unsaturated ialah oleic, linoleic dan juga linoleic. Okay. Adalah lebih bagus if your group tadi, okay, group yang ada ham semua Zul semua ni, Okay, please buat kajian sikit. Cari dalam Google, what oleic acid comes from, daripada Gaprion. Linoleic acid datang daripada pokok apa? Linoleic acid datang daripada apa? Itu maksud saya dah. Kalau boleh cari lagi lah. Okay, teruskan lagi.
Unsaturated fats have at least one double bond in the carbon chain, whereas saturated fatty acids only have a single covalent bond in the carbon chain.
Okay,
As the
good.
example, the diagram.
Okay, good. Sekejap So, bila dia sebut pasal double bond dengan single bond, awak kena recall balik. Double bond merujuk kepada apa dia? Apa dia? Alkene, betul?
Alkene.
Alkene is an unsaturated
hydrocarbon.
Okay, lepas tu dia kata lagi, whereas saturated tu ialah single covalent bond. Sebab tu dia panggil saturated, sebab dia single covalent bond belakang. Okay, boleh? Okay, kena faham dah. Okay, next.
The presence of double bonds causes unsaturated fats to have low melting point and exist as liquid at room temperature.
Okay. Cuba tengok dia punya contoh structure dia tu dah. Tengok punya contoh structure dia tu. Awak tengok molek. Okay. Yang saturated semuanya ada single bond. Yang unsaturated ada double bond. Bila double bond dia unsaturated. Dah. Okay, next.
And this is extra information about saturated fat and unsaturated fats. This is the differences saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Saturated fats, example, meats, butter, dairy products. Saturated fat solely at room temperature and increase levels of bad cholesterol, which is low density lipoprotein. Low density lipoprotein will make clogged arteries.
Okay, good.
Unsaturated fat, example of unsaturated fat is vegetable oils. It is exists as liquid at room temperature. Increased levels of good cholesterol, which is high density lipoprotein. High density lipoprotein or HDL grabs LDL and escorts it to the liver, while LDL is broken down and eventually removed from the body.
Okay, yang pasal LDL semua tu dengan HDL semua tu, ini adalah satu tambahan ilmu pada awak lah. Dalam bio saya ada belajar ke tak belajar?
Ada.
Tak ada?
Ada.
Ada lah, ada Okay. So, kalau gini lah maksudnya, kalau lemak dia adalah kolesterol jahat lah dah. Okay. Kalau yang oil tu dia tak ada lah dia punya LDL-nya. Dia ada HDL. Okay, dah? Dia bukan tak ada, dia kurang lah maksudnya. Okay, seterusnya.
And this is part of fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids, no double bond, straight structure, solid at room temperature. Example of sources such as beef, butter, coconut oil. Health impact and intake recommendations: increased risk of heart disease, less than 20 grams of saturated fats per day for a 2000 kilocalorie diet.
Okay, maksudnya kalau misalnya katalah awak ambil 20 gram lemak tu, okay, awak sudah makan sebanyak 2000 kilokalori diet. Untuk pengetahuan awak, kalau 2000 kilokalori diet itu, awak kena pusing pada solat hari itu sebanyak lebih kurang 50 kali, 50 orang untuk bakar 2000 tu. Dah. Okay, untuk bakar. Maksudnya 20 gram saturated fats itu awak makan, okay, dalam sehari, okay. So 2000 kilo ke diet tu, awak nak bakar diet tu, awak nak bakar tenaga tu 2000 tu bersamaan dengan lebih kurang 50 pusing pada solat hari. Dah. Alright, terusnya.
Example of trans fatty acids. Trans fatty acid has one or more double bonds in trans configuration. It is straight structure.
Kenapa awak guna buatan trans kat sini? Apa maksud trans?
Pertengahan, such as transition element.
Bagus. Okay, kena beritahu lah. Sebab tiba-tiba saja awak guna kata trans kan? Okay, so okay.
Yes.
Kena bagi tahu dah. Trans, okay. Bagi tahu dia kenapa guna trans dulu. Bagi tahu semua.
It is semi-solid or solid at room temperature.
Okay.
Example of sources trans fatty acid is margarine, crepe soup with puff pastry, chicken pie.
Hak benda-benda sedap lah aku lah tu dah. Makan deh. Okay.
Health impacts and intake recommendations: increased rates of heart disease, less than 2.2 gram of trans fat per day for a 1,000 kilocalorie diet.
Okay, sekejap Cuba kau tengok semula type of fatty acid tu dia kata trans. One or more double bond in trans configuration, strict structure, semi-solid ataupun solid at room temperature. Nak jadi cair dia kena panas sekejap. Dia cair lah. Dah. So kat situ trans. Okay, sambung lagi. Nak tengok lagi. Next slide awak. Dah. So, ini semua ni ada tak dalam buku teks ni Ikhwan? Zul Ikhwan?
Tak ada, saya cari Google.
Okay, tak apa. Terus.
This is example of monounsaturated fatty acids. It has one double bond in his configuration, band structure, and exists as liquid at room temperature.
Apa maksud awak one double bond in CIS? Cheese configuration tu? Apa maksud dia cheese tu?
Hujung. Di tengah-tengah. Lepas dia bengkok tu.
Okay, good.
Example of monounsaturated fatty acid is olive oil, canola oil, peanut oil.
Okay, kenapa dia panggil mono? Kenapa panggil mono? Sebab apa?
Satu.
Double bond dia hanya ada satu dalam dia punya kompleks molekul dia tu kan? Okay.
Yes.
Terus?
It may reduce risk of heart disease, moderate intake of monounsaturated fats.
Okay.
Example of polyunsaturated fatty acids have multiple bonds in cis configurations, even more band in structure, liquid at room temperature.
Okay, ini poly. Poly tu maksudnya dia lebih daripada satu dah, banyak Okay.
Example of polyunsaturated fatty acid is soybean oil, corn oil, and fatty fish.
Apa contoh fatty fish? Apa dia fatty fish?
Lemak ikan.
Lemak ikan, okay.
It may reduce risk of heart disease and moderate intake of polyunsaturated fats.
Okay, next.
Test.
Okay.
Okay, next we are going to go with conversion of unsaturated fats to saturated fat.
Okay.
Okay, in oils, there are a high percentage of unsaturated fat. Okay, so unsaturated fats can be converted into saturated fats through hydrogenation. Did you still remember what is hydrogenation? Okay, so hydrogenation is a chemical reaction between hydrogen and another compound or element. This process requires catalyst reaction to occur under a normal conditions and temperature and pressure. Okay. So hydrogenation is used to convert unsaturated fats to saturated fat. And examples of hydrogenated products include is mineral, turpentine, aniline, and the common is margarine. And hydrogenation used to make liquid oils into semi-solid and solid fats. Okay.
Okay, maksudnya ini adalah repetition apa yang awak dah belajar dalam bab mana ni? Dalam bab mana? Dalam bab mana? Orang lain. Jangan tekuk Alia yang jawab. Orang lain yang jawab. Bab 2. Yang mana? Yang bahagian mana? Which part of chapter 2? Which part of chapter 2?
Acid.
Addition.
Ah, which part of chapter 2? Hydrogenation.
Alkenes.
Apa
Chemical
dia
properties of
alkene?
alkenes.
Ah,
Addition reaction.
Chemical
chemical
properties.
Reaction reaction.
properties of alkene,
Alkenes.
which is
Alkenes.
addition, kan? Yang
Yes.
first kali kita ada 5 addition tu kan. So ini yang first kali alkene. Kalau kita buat hydrogenation, dia akan dapat alkane. Betul tak? Ni sama je ni. Iaitu, bila kita ada unsaturated yang contain double bond, nak suruh jadi saturated supaya hilang double bond, buat apa dia? Hydrogenation. Sama lah ni. Sama saja. Cuma lah ni konteks dia adalah dalam unsaturated dan juga saturated fat. Alright, next.
Okay. So let's focus on hydrogenation to convert unsaturated fats to saturated fat. Okay, first, during hydrogenation, hydrogen gas is passed into hot oil with presence of nickel as catalyst. As I said before, this process have to use catalyst. So here we use nickel. Okay, so the double bond in the carbon chain is open and the hydrogen atoms are added at the carbon chain. Okay, so you can see from the picture that I show.
Awak lukis sendiri ke ni?
Where,
Alia, awak lukis sendiri ke?
Google, sir. Google.
Yang atas tu, Google tu lukis sendiri. Google Okay.
Okay, so the addition of hydrogen atoms to the carbon chain causes the molecular mass to increase that leads to the increase in the melting point and boiling point. This situation explains why margarine exists in a solid form at room temperature even though it is produced from oil.
Okay, maksudnya dia dah buat apa dia pada margarine tu? Hydrogenation. Okay. Okay, next.
Next is about uses of oils and fats in life. The first one is for the production of biofuel. Oils and fats can be used to produce biofuels, such as biodiesel to be used by vehicles. And the second one is to produce soap and personal care. Oils and fats are main ingredients for making soap. Skin moisturizer also utilize oils in their production. The third one is for the nutritional source. Oils and fats supply energy to human. It also helps our body to absorb important vitamins such as vitamin A, D, E, and K. And the last one is for the animal feeds. Oils and fats are used to manufacture feeds for cattle.
Okay, kenapa dia tak boleh nak absorb vitamin B dan C?
Water soluble.
Awak kena ingatlah yang vitamin ni pun ada yang soluble dengan insoluble Okay, so next.
Although oils and fats are rich in benefits, excessive intake of these also can cause bad side effects to our health. For example, like increase in body weight, obesity, high risk for atherosclerosis, and hardening of the arteries.
Okay.
Self-assess 5.1. Okay. So first, what is the meaning of unsaturated? Unsaturated fats are fats that contain unsaturated fatty acid.
Okay, kita apa? Siapa yang present ni? Siapa yang present sekarang ni? Siapa yang sedang present sekarang? Okay, Nisa. Okay, ini okay, ada berapa page untuk yang apa tu self-assess ni?
Last page, sir.
Okay, last page. Okay, tak apa, last page ni. What is the meaning of unsaturated? Ini semua pelajar wajib jawab dalam buku teks wajib jawab dalam buku catatan. Soalan daripada buku teks kan?
Yes.
Okay, so yang ni tak payah share lah. Nanti semua buat sendiri dah.